She married a poor mountain man, but he drove her to his secret hidden mansion. 1885 Wild West Levine. The year 1885, when dust ruled the roads and hope was often thinner than bread, Eleanor Whitmore became the woman everyone whispered about. She was educated, graceful, and once belonged to a family whose name opened doors, until her father died, debt swallowed their land, and society quietly turned its back. When the town preacher announced her engagement, jaws dropped, because Eleanor wasn't marrying a banker or a ranch owner. She was marrying Caleb Holt, the silent mountain man who lived above the pine line, wore patched clothes, spoke little, and was rumored to own nothing but a mule and an axe. People said she was desperate. Others said she was foolish. No one guessed the truth. Caleb arrived at the church alone, boots worn smooth, coat too thin for the season. He stood like a man carved from the mountains themselves, broad shoulders, quiet eyes, the kind that had seen storms no one else survived. When Eleanor took his hand, she felt something no rich man had ever given her, peace. He didn't promise her luxury. He promised her safety. "Life won't be easy," he said softly. "But you'll never be afraid." She said yes before he finished the sentence. Their wedding feast was small. No music, no gifts worth mentioning. That night, instead of carrying her to a fine house, Caleb lifted Eleanor onto a wagon pulled by an old mule and turned toward the mountains. The road grew narrow. The town disappeared. Eleanor watched the lights fade and wondered, just for a moment, if the whispers had been right. Caleb noticed her silence. "If you wish to turn back," he said, "say the word." Eleanor shook her head. "I married you," she replied. "Not your fortune." They climbed for hours. The air grew colder. The moonlight revealed cliffs and pine shadows. Finally, they stopped at a small cabin, bare wood, smoke curling from a stone chimney. This was his home, and Eleanor accepted it without complaint. That night, as the wind howled, Caleb sat awake by the fire, watching over her sleep like a man guarding treasure. Outside, hidden beyond ridges and ravines no map recorded, something waited, something Eleanor had no idea existed. Days passed. Eleanor learned mountain life, hauling water, baking bread, mending clothes. Caleb disappeared at dawn and returned after dusk, never explaining where he went. Sometimes he came back with gold dust on his cuffs, sometimes with bruises, sometimes with nothing at all. The town's rumors grew uglier. "He's using her," they said. "She'll regret it." Eleanor heard none of it. She had never felt safer. One evening, as winter crept closer, Caleb finally spoke words he'd held back. "Tomorrow," he said, eyes fixed on the fire, "I'm taking you somewhere. You must trust me completely." Eleanor nodded, unaware that the next sunrise would shatter everything she believed about her husband. At dawn, Caleb hitched fresh horses to the wagon, strong, well-fed animals Eleanor had never seen before. That alone raised her curiosity. They traveled deeper into the mountains, following paths so narrow Eleanor wondered how he found them. Hours passed. Then, just as the trail seemed to end at a sheer rock wall, Caleb guided the horses through a gap hidden by brush. Beyond it lay a valley untouched by time. Eleanor gasped. Before her stood a grand stone mansion, tucked into the mountain like a secret the world was never meant to know. Wide verandas. Tall windows. A fountain fed by a natural spring. It looked like something from another life, another world. Eleanor turned to Caleb, stunned. "You said you were poor," she whispered. Caleb's voice trembled. "I said I lived simply." Inside, the mansion was warm, elegant, and alive. Staff emerged, loyal men and women who greeted Caleb not as a mountain man, but as their master. Slowly, the truth unfolded. Caleb Holt had once been a railroad investor, betrayed by partners who tried to have him killed for his land. He vanished into the mountains, built a new identity, and protected his fortune in secrecy. Wealth had nearly cost him his life, and he refused to let it steal his soul. "I needed to know," Caleb said, eyes locked on Eleanor's, that you loved me without gold standing between us. Tears streamed down her face, not of anger, but understanding. You hid this to protect yourself, she said. And to protect me. He nodded. Now it's yours too. But secrets never sleep forever. That very night, armed men rode toward the valley, men from Caleb's past who had finally found him. When shots rang out, Caleb stood between Eleanor and danger without hesitation. The mountain man became something more, a protector, a leader, a man forged by hardship and love. Together, they defended the home, not with cruelty, but courage. By morning, the threat was gone. The valley was safe again. Eleanor stood on the balcony, watching sunlight spill over the mountains. She realized then that she hadn't married a poor man who became rich. She had married a strong man who chose humility. The world had measured him wrong, and she had measured him with her heart. Years later, people would tell the legend of the hidden mansion and the woman who chose love over comfort. But only Eleanor knew the truth. The greatest treasure wasn't stone walls or gold, it was the man who tested her heart before trusting her with his world. That if this story moved you, if you believe real love is built on trust, sacrifice, and courage, subscribe to the channel. Because the Wild West was full of legends, and the greatest ones were written by the heart.